G'day YouTube, welcome back to my channel Bonsai Works. Yes, I don't have a little tree to do today, I've got a very big one. This is a juniper, a garden juniper I guess, I don't know which one it is exactly, mainly grown in the gardens. It's very nice foliage in certain areas. It's very soft Shinpaku-like foliage, very soft Shinpaku-like, except this branch is for some reason has been a yellowy kind of branch, I don't know why, but it's just one branch here in the top that's slowly. So the new growth was starting to come out more soft and green-like, but just that one branch. I'm not sure 100% why it's doing that. But anyway, today's not about styling, unfortunately. I know you probably wish I can style this tree. This tree came from a grower that I've known for a while, and it's a collector tree, and it's still in kind of the original soil that it came out of the ground, it feels like. It's a very clay soil. Now I have noticed over the time I've had it for that the water wasn't penetrating in. So I've just kept looking at it, and I go, the water's just not getting through. I have to repot this tree. Now it's a good time. It's obviously late winter here in Melbourne, here in Australia, and it's a perfect time to do a repotting of junipers. So this is the plan today, to repot this big guy. It's not as heavy as it looks. It's actually quite reasonable in terms of weight. Obviously the only issue is that once it gets repotted, making sure it's such a big long branch, it's kind of got a lot of weight going downwards, so you don't want it to fall over. Now I am putting it in a new pot, not this pot. So I'll show you the pot later. It's a beautiful Japanese lotus kind of pot. Looks unbelievable, but we'll get to that. But first things first, we really need to get rid of this clay soil. It's like a rock, honestly. It's so hard that I have to do this work. Now also it'll be a good chance to see what the roots are like and things like that. The tree's really healthy, so I'm assuming the roots are really healthy too. So, but there's just a period of time now that I cannot get water through, and that really means I've got to repot. So now the reason I haven't styled the tree first is I wanted to understand its health, its growth, etc., which is going really well. So, but I'm not going to now style the tree and then repot it. I don't want to style this tree and the roots aren't right and strong enough to support it, etc. I don't want to do too much to it. So I'm going to make sure I get the soil, the roots all right first before I approach the foliage. Now this foliage is a juniper solar panels, I always say. They absorb the sunlight. The juniper strength is all in its foliage. So the more foliage a juniper has, the stronger it's going to be, and it should feed into the roots and grow the roots, and so on and so on. So then the roots will grow, then feed the tree, etc. The cycle continues, but you've got to have the foliage to support the roots. So that's the way I think of it, and that's why I approach it this way. So let's have a look at what this looks like. It's going to take me a while to get it, I think, out of the pot for starters. I don't know how long it's been in this pot. It's a very clayey soil. It's a very clayey kind of soil. I don't know if I can show you guys close, but it's very dense. It's not a bonsai mix, etc. But the tree's done well in it. It's just there's no water getting through anymore, and I'm worried about the risk of the tree. So I'm going to work on this, and we'll give you an update. So it took me about an hour last night to just get it out of the pot. And you can probably see why. Rock hard, all roots, that's like a rock. Healthy roots, but nothing, I can't even get the old wire that's wired in the little mesh on the pot. That's just rock solid all the way around. Hard to say, it looks very fine, the soil, so it could be in the original soil it was in. Not 100% sure, but there's nothing I can do with it. This is just insanely rock hard. So there's not much other than start chopping into this thing. It should be fine. Lots of foliage, as I said, but yeah, there's nothing we can do. When it's solid like this, I don't even know if I'll be able to comb it out. I'm going to give it a go, but I'm pretty much going to use a saw and just cut it through. At least this bottom bit here, there's about that much. Just got to cut right through that, and then I can try and brush out the others. Then with this kind of stuff, I like to try to do little wedges here and there in the root ball, and get new soil into it, and slowly over time replace the old soil. I never do it in one go, just won't work. I will wash some of this out, try. I don't think I'm going to have much luck, but we'll give it a go. Good news is this pot actually turned out to be, now if you're in Melbourne, you would definitely know who this person is. It's Jeff Vanner. So it's a Jeff Vanner pot from 1992. So I've got the mark here to state that. I know these are very highly sought after pots. So yeah, if you're in, I'm tempted now. I'm not sure what to do with this. It's a nice pot, really nice pot. They're very large for a Jeff Vanner pot too, I think. It's got his texture. I've noticed his other pots have the very similar texture. I think Jeff passed away quite a while ago now, but his pots are a bit of a legacy. So really nice Jeff Vanner pot from 1992. All right, let's get stuck into this, and I'll put this safely away. So if I do this, I can use my root hook and slowly get through all this as well. But I'm pretty much not going to have that, so I'm just going to use a saw and just slowly cut through this part. I'll show you what comes out eventually. Probably need a bigger saw. So I gave up on the small one. I'm going to go for the big one. So this is what remains after getting the saw into it. There's nothing I can do with that. It's rock hard, all full of roots. Got to get rid of it. So now the more precise work happens, where I start to try and comb some of this out. It's a lot of dense soil at the top, so we'll try and comb a lot of it out. Excuse my breathing. That was quite hard work using a saw to try and rip all that, get all that out. So if I dislodge as much as I can here now, I can actually then wash it a bit better. So the water will sink in a bit. Now I have noticed a few dead roots, so I'm going to remove them now. And they're quite heavy. So if I see something like that, I'll do it now. Might as well. And when I'm digging through the outside part, I have noticed there is nice open mix inside, so it's not too bad then. So I'm a bit happier with that. That's good news. Because that means there's going to be nice fine roots on the inside, which is what you want. So I'm just going to get rid of some of these dead roots. Alright, so I've removed quite a bit off the root ball, but it's really nice and healthy still. Now, one thing you definitely notice is inside the root, it starts to get really quite dry. So you know the water's not getting in properly. So I'm just going to come out a bit more here, give this a good wash, and then I'll get the pot and I'll show you what it looks like when we're going to repot. Before I bring the tree back, this is the pot I've chosen to put it into. It's a two-tone Japanese beautiful pot. Just gorgeous. It's a lotus kind of pot. It looks big enough. Haven't really measured it, but it should be fine, and it should look good in this pot. I've been told in Japan they present these pots with the foot as the front, not in between. So that's why I've chosen the foot as the front. That's what I've been told. So I'm just going to, pot is prepared, wires are in, and you know, all ready to go. So I'm going to grab the tree. It's actually come up pretty good. Once I washed all the fine soil off, especially off the top, it's actually looking really good. It just needs, obviously now time to recover, and I'll grab it now. Now it's done really well, so you can see it's nice, and I can't get right in, but I did notice the soil inside is actually new, so it's been good. It's good. It's got a more open mix, so it's not going to be too bad. So I'm just going to play with it, see if it actually fits in here and how it's going to work. Always knew this branch might be a problem, but we'll see how we go. So it's going to sit up like that. Yeah. I was going to change the angle slightly. I wanted to get it more upright, so that, because that previously was really hanging down. And I have noticed there's this branch. going to be in the way. We kind of don't need it, so I'm going to cut it off. Not that I normally cut branches off, but this is just, it's not going to let me put it in the position I want it to be. So by eliminating it, hang on. Sorry I'm blocking the camera, but there we go. Now I can put any angle I want. All right, we're going to get some soil and start to put it in. Now this is, it's actually quite light for a big tree. That's not too bad. So I'm just going to put it aside and start to get some soil in. So I've mounted up the soil a bit in the pot now. I'm going to try and put this in at the angle I need. So I'm making sure I've still got that as my front. Now, I don't want the tree to be sided. I want it slightly coming forward. Okay, so this is slightly coming forward. And if I wiggle it in enough, I want to try and avoid the branches hitting the pot, which is good. So there's a bit of a gap in here between the branches and the pot. Obviously, there's a lot of weight on this tree falling over. So, but that's pretty good. Now, the good thing is I've got this dead bit here, which I will gin in the future, make a nice feature. Lots of little dead bits in here, which is also good, and they'll make a nice feature. Now, one thing with this, I need to probably put more soil on that side, on this side of the tree. So for now, I'm just going to tie it in temporarily, just to hold it while I get some soil and put it in that spot. Because otherwise, if I let go, it will knock over. Oh, good, it weighs. It holds nicely. So by putting in soil in here, I'm really trying to brace the tree, which is good. Feels more solid already. So it's kind of braced now. Now I will need to tie it in now. I think it's a good point in time. Now, the more I wash the soil away, the more I can see there's actually quite an impressive nabari around here. So this tree is going to just get better and better in the future once the nabari gets more exposed. But now let's talk about, it's all about the health of the tree after we've repotted. Aesthetics can come later. So when it's a bigger tree, use slightly thicker wire. Of course, I'm still using aluminium in this case because I wanted to get a thicker gauge on here. So I'm using probably 3.5 mil, I think, looks like to me. All right, so that's pretty much it tied in. This looks good. That's the front. This will be nice the way it's going to go. Slightly comes forward, which is good. It comes about there. About this much space from the front of the pot. This finishes really nice. As I said, this will all come together in the future with nice carving, etc. The tree's tied in nice and solid. It's not going to move. I'm just going to top it up with soil and we'll have a look what it looks like at the end. Still solid, follow the same process, everyone. Still got to use the chopstick to work the soil into all the air pockets as much as you can. Very important. Obviously, you can see the water just now flowing really well through the new soil, as you would expect. Now you can probably see the colour of the pot. I've tried to give it a quick wash so you can see that the colours looks stunning. I think it's really going to be a perfect match when I actually get to style this tree. Now, this tree just goes back exactly the same spot in the garden that it came from. It's used to those conditions and it should just keep powering along. I won't touch this tree for at least 6 months in terms of styling. I'll leave everything, won't cut anything off, apart from I had to cut that branch because I couldn't get in the pot. It's the only reason. No big deal. It wasn't a good branch anyway. It probably was going to be taken off anyway. So good news there. As I said, the tree is not going to be touched for at least 6 months, probably into autumn, into summer, autumn. So it's at least 6 months away for us. We're not even officially in spring yet, even though the weather feels totally like spring. And then I'll go into it. So that's really all it is. Just I'll keep an eye on it. Nothing much more, but probably the lesson is don't leave it so long to repot. That root ball was just like stone. You saw me with the saw trying to get through it. You saw what came off. Junipers grow pretty strong, so their roots are going to fill up the pot eventually. Maybe every 5 years, I'd probably do this one or so because it's a bit older. Shouldn't grow as much, but you never know. But otherwise, I think this will come up really well in the future. It's going to be, I think you have to go full cascade for this tree. It's got some good, beautiful long branches. I really don't want to cut them off. They're going to be, but we'll see. maybe it will be better as a semi-cascade with smaller tree with deadwood. I'm not 100% sure yet, but definitely a cascading style tree. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed that video. It's a big one. I'm sweating. It's hard work, but I hope you enjoy that. Thanks for watching. See you next time.